Good evening and welcome to the Newshour Agenda. I'm Madhavdas G. A powerful earthquake with a 7.7 magnitude has jolted Myanmar and Thailand. Both the nations have suffered serious devastation. This earthquake in Thailand has led to dozens of workers being trapped in a collapsed, under-construction skyscraper in Bangkok. The state of emergency has been declared in both Thailand and Myanmar. Airports have been shut. Metro rail services have been suspended. Different agencies have been roped in and rescue operations are underway on a war footing. At least 25 people are reportedly dead in the Thailand earthquake. Over 43 workers are feared trapped after a 30-story under-construction building collapsed in Bangkok. Amidst the powerful earthquake, tremors were also felt in China, Vietnam and Bangladesh. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Narendra Modi expressed concerns over the situation in Myanmar and Thailand and offered India's assistance. The Prime Minister has also asked the Ministry of External Affairs to be in touch with the governments of Myanmar and Thailand.
I was waiting for the bill and then suddenly I started feeling that the earth is shaking. You know, my first thought is that maybe somebody is not feeling it, just me, something is wrong with me, but everybody was looking around and right away we were all going outside because you could feel it's going to last for a while.
Yeah.
I have experienced earthquakes twice before in Myanmar, but that was only like 1 second of one big bang. And here it went on for at least, I'd say, a minute.
Yeah.
Quite scary.
I was checking a message on my mobile phone. I was in my lazy boy and all of a sudden it moved back and forth and then it toppled over and I hit my head on the table, but it didn't leave a mark and I didn't break the glass table either. This is not the first time that the building has felt an earthquake, but never like this before.
Yeah.
And joining us at the moment is journalist Tommy Walker, all the way live from Bangkok. Tommy Walker, take us through what the impact on ground has been. It's an incident that has literally had the entire Bangkok shaken up. We've seen signs of panic coming in, all sorts of scenes of chaos that have been seen. Has the situation calmed down now?
Well, like you said, it's been chaotic and it still is. I'm here at the crash site. You might be able to see behind me. Of that building in Bang Sue, and it's chaos here. Rescue workers are still trying to see how many people are under the rubble. Going by a police notice, there's 117 people still missing here. 5 have been reported to have been killed and 9 have been injured. This is at the crash site of the Bang Sue construction sites. However, throughout Bangkok, this, like you said, this earthquake has really affected everyone. Buildings were swaying. Windows were smashing. People were very worried, especially if they were staying in high rises. And myself, I was rudely awakened by the earthquake. It abruptly tilted myself to one side of my bed, and I soon realised that an earthquake was happening. We were told to evacuate, climb down 20 plus stairs. Where people were really worried and crying and calling home, and many tourists were cancelling their hotel bookings. So it's a very worrying time. Bangkok, the Thai government have put a state of emergency upon Bangkok. So yeah, it's a developing story, and it's just a big shock to the country.
For more on this, let's take it across to our guest now. Joining us with us is Dr. A.K. Shukla, the former head of National Center for Seismology. Joining us from Delhi, we also have Dr. Sushil Kumar, former scientist and head of geophysics at the Wadia Institute of Himalayan Geology. He's joining us from Dehradun. With us from Hyderabad is Harsh Gupta, earth scientist and seismologist. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining us this evening. Let me begin with Dr. A.K. Shukla. Dr. Shukla, we're told that this has happened at a fault line that is between the India and the Sunda plates. It's called the Sagaing fault line, and this kind of 7.7 magnitude earthquake is something that is not entirely unexpected in this region. How do you look at this from the point of geology, sir?
Yes, no, you have rightly said that it's not unexpected earthquake in that particular region. As you have mentioned that our Indian plate is, as for the other earthquake in Himalaya belt, Indian plate is colliding with the Eurasian plate, and the part of east and south part of India is colliding with the this Burma plate, Sunda plate, you can say. This is a tri-junction of this one. And of course the sagging earthquake, sagging fault, that is responsible for this earthquake. So the big fault, because it's a very big fault, about maybe about 200 kilometers. So the possibility of such earthquake is always there.
At the moment, of course, we don't have much details of what's happened in Myanmar, Dr. Sushil Kumar. But if this is the kind of devastation that we're seeing in Thailand, then obviously we can expect that in Myanmar, the situation could be far worse, particularly in the rural areas where perhaps structures that are not, are made of concrete, etc., could be far more worse affected. What would be your estimate in terms of what we can expect in terms of the impact in Myanmar?
In fact, the 7.7 is a major earthquake, and certainly we will say that it is capable of destroying the high-rise buildings as well as bridges, because the focal depth of this is shallow, very shallow. They have estimated, the preliminary estimation, they have given 10 kilometer depth, focal depth. This is very, very shallow. And such a major earthquake certainly will create a devastation all around the region because of its magnitude, size. And we know that very well. Yes. The whole area is basically the Bangkok.
Carry on, make your point.
Yeah, it's a soft clay basin, and certainly the amplification remains high in the surrounding areas also. Those comes with the thick soil cover.
And also, Dr. Harsh Gupta, if I can bring you in this, what is it that makes Myanmar so vulnerable? As you were saying, not entirely, a region where it's not expected, but in Myanmar, particularly this kind of seismic activity seen more regularly, perhaps in other parts.
You see, Saigon Fault is about 1,200 kilometers in length, and this fault is created by the subduction of the Indian plate under the Burmese plate. And the subduction is taking place at a speed of about 18 to 20 millimeter per year. And in the past, we have had earthquakes of magnitude 7.7. The last such earthquake occurred in 1946. Then in 2012, we had the 6.8 magnitude earthquake. So earthquakes of this magnitude are taking place on it, not very regularly. But as I said, that the previous earthquake of this magnitude was in 1946. So that is almost 8 decades ago. So coming to this particular earthquake, you see, this has happened, and fortunately it occurred in the daytime. Why I'm saying so? Because in daytime most of the people are out of their homes. And if similar earthquake occurs in the middle of the night when everyone is inside of the home, and in our part of the world, whether it is Myanmar or India or many other countries around it, the houses are not capable of withstanding the earthquakes. They are not earthquake resilient. So the maximum damage or the number of lives lost is much more when similar earthquakes occur in the middle of the night or early in the morning when everyone is sleeping. So far the figures that are being shown of the deaths is not more than 100 or 150. And I don't know whether this number will grow or not. Now imagine a similar earthquake occurred in Turkey last year, 2023, now 2 years ago. And in Turkey, it has claimed more than 50,000 lives. Whereas the population of Turkey is much smaller than the total population of Myanmar and Thailand, which is on the other side. So I'm very happy and slightly surprised at the smaller number of lives which is being told to be lost so far. And this earthquake is followed by a 6.4 magnitude aftershock, and there are some pre-shocks also. So on this fault, the Saigon fault is a part of the Alpine belt which goes north of India, and then it bends towards south around Burma and goes down and then meets with the Pacific belt. So this belt is quite active, but there are two things which are very uncommon. Normally earthquakes are deeper here, but this earthquake is only, as you mentioned, is about 15 or 20 kilometer depth. and it occurred in the daytime.
Okay.
So that is one of the reasons for fewer lives lost so far.
All right. Let's in fact take
Hello?
this question across to Dr. Shukla as well. Dr. Shukla, there are large number of Indians who are present, in fact, in Thailand, not just those who work there, but of course a huge amount of tourists also. In a situation like this, what would your advice be to those who are caught in some kind of aftershocks after this massive earthquake that has taken place? Because aftershocks are also a very distinct possibility when there is such a large earthquake.
Yeah, aftershocks are very possibility, as Dr. Professor Harshutta has told. 6.2 magnitude earthquake aftershock has already occurred, and the 4 or 5 are already continuing. It may continue even weeks also. So regarding this, you are telling about this tourists they are visiting there. They must be residing in some hotel and etc. If there is no damage, because if there is no damage in this hotel, they are safe, because the earthquake, which the aftershock which will occur, they will be little bit at least 1 magnitude less to the present one, 7.7. So there will not be much damage if the building is presently building is safe. So they can stay in there at that building, but if there is damage in the building, certainly they should see some other shelter and go there. As Dr. Professor Harshutta ji has told, that it has occurred in daytime, so the casualty is little less. But still there is a possibility that the casualty will be very high in this region because of this soil structure of the soil and different characteristics of the earthquake.
Yeah, I just wanted to tell that there is a way of estimating how long aftershocks will continue. There is a Omori's law, which after a few days you can estimate. What happens that after an earthquake occurs of magnitude 7.7 like this, then the structures become very weak, and even smaller aftershocks can damage the things. Normally, aftershocks of magnitude 5 and larger are damaging, and the already weakened structures fall by these aftershocks. So, as far as the Turkey earthquake was concerned, we had estimated that magnitude 5 aftershocks will continue for about 200 days. And that estimate came true, because after 180 days, there was no aftershocks of that magnitude. For this earthquake also, I think after the first 10 or 12 days data are available, we will be able to estimate that how long magnitude 5 and larger aftershocks will continue. But for a shallow earthquake like this, I think aftershocks may not continue for a very long time. When the focus is a little deeper, 30, 40 kilometers, then is a larger area, volume is involved, and aftershocks do continue for a longer time. But I am not sure about this earthquake. I have also not checked what happened in 1946 7.7 magnitude earthquake, which was equivalent to this one. It will take some time to see that how long that aftershocks continued for the 1946 earthquakes. And that can give you
Dr. Sushil Kumar, if I can just bring you in, what kind of early warning systems do we have that can actually prevent such matters or at least detecting such quakes from taking place, whether it is Thailand, Myanmar, or perhaps even India, where there's a large part of India, particularly in the northern half, which is susceptible to such seismic activity?
The early warning systems are actually we are trying to implement in Uttarakhand. And it basically not the epicenter of this particular earthquake is within the Myanmar, and there will not be much time to basically implement that particular kind of information, whatever we'll get from the early warning system. So here, I think the information. That's why the earthquake immediately affected the people. And as Professor Harshutta said that. The shallow earthquakes tend to, however, the initial information was 10, but it is 10 to 15 or 20 kilometers. Such a shallow depth, so impact certainly will be more. However, it will be in this short time, like 15 to 20 days, because of shallowness of the nature. But the impact of the building will be much higher, and the nature of the system is soft clay basic. So the impact will be more. So the people should be aware about if cracks are there in the building. So with a small magnitude earthquake aftershocks will affect more the people. So they should take care of this.
Okay. All right, Dr. Kumar, Dr. Shukla, as well as Dr. Gupta, I'd like to thank all of you for joining us and sharing with us your perspectives. What really are we looking at in terms of this kind of seismic activity? And of course, what's the final impact of it? Perhaps only revelations and reports over the next few days will really bring us ground reports. If this is the state in Bangkok, just imagine what's the state closer to the epicenter. Thanks so much for joining us on this show this evening.